Please rise and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hopefully he has it on.
Okay. Okay, first item is special legislation update. Mary Beth.
Okay. As I started to say, today I received an email from Catherine Mullen of Allison Sullivan's office, State Rep Allison Sullivan, and they did reach Emerson, who's the legislative director of the Committee on Election Laws, on Friday, and he said, quote, "The committee is planning to release a poll this afternoon, Friday, that will include S2698 and recommend a favorable report to the legislation. The poll closes on Monday, so it should be able to move early next week." And that's the latest update.
Great.
So,
Good job. Okay, schedule update. You're on.
Well, there's not a ton going on, but there's a little bit of site work going on over there. Page mobilized their site contractor, and just want to introduce our site representative, Rich Brusella, is with us today, and Rich has been on site, and where Paige is kind of holding off on the site office trailer and some of that kind of mobilizing, with the letter that they have, holding off on the demo and the abatement and stuff like that. So we're trying to keep them busy. There's some test pit, I guess, that got done, was it today? Today. And we got the email correspondence about the from the LSP, right?
if we could just talk about that for a minute.
Sure.
That was Andrea Stiller.
Yep.
That I mentioned an email to you earlier today. She called this morning and said that Paige will need an excavated materials management plan, an EMMP, before the soil management can begin, so before anything's disturbed, so they know what soil came from where, and also a site and health and safety plan.
Okay, I forwarded that
I
correspondence
saw
to them, so we're having a meeting with them on Wednesday, so we'll make sure that they respond to that, and and go from there. So I'm not sure. She's the LSP, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can reach out to her tomorrow and get some more information and see if she wants to get on that call. Maybe she probably want to get on a.
She's leaving for Barcelona tomorrow.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, she'll be away for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the email with the 2 attachments and everything?
I realized when I forwarded it that there was the attachments,
Yeah.
but I only got through the email and saw like the summary of it, so I didn't
There's
see all
like
that
94 pages on
Okay.
one and 60 on another, so it's quite a lot of information there.
stuff. Okay.
All right.
Well, it shouldn't be a surprise to Paige. This is pretty standard.
That's
stuff,
what she said. She
so,
said it's in the agreement. They should know that.
Yep.
So, I said, well, if you're going away and you're just calling today, and as soon as I get this green light letter, they want to just go. So, she said as soon as she gets back, she'll get right to that. So
Okay.
maybe by then they'll have it all together, and I'm sure they'll need a little bit of time to get that.
Okay.
Okay, have we received any written information about our new site rep? Do you have the information on file, his name and contact and everything?
I don't know if we.
Could you send that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so that, yeah.
You're not going to try to poach him, I'm afraid.
Never. Okay, moving on. We have some invoices for payment. And I guess, let's see. William Hogan Electrical, LLC, $1,260 to upgrade wiring to enable the DPW to work on site. If the committee's amenable, I'll go through all three and we'll vote them as one vote. Glacier Electric LLC has billed us $295 to connect the air compressor.
Do you want me to provide a quick explanation for those? I can do that.
Yeah, I'd like an explanation on that one.
So, the air compressor that is in the garages, the middle garage is coming down first, was only about 10 years old. And we had to buy that shortly after I became superintendent. And so we thought it wise to, well, we actually needed it also at the Armory to operate our maintenance facility. It all runs the air guns and everything else that the air compressors run for mechanics. So we had to have an electrician go up there and wire it to be able to run that. So that's what you see there. The first invoice from Glacier Electric was they put a switch in and prepared it for delivery. And then several, it might have been a month later or whatever, we went up there. We actually delivered and mounted the air compressor. And then they came back and hardwired the compressor because it's not, you don't just plug it in. So they hardwired the compressor into that switch, so it's all set. So those are the two, that's why there's two separate Glacier bills and the work was performed, a month apart or whatever it was.
Yeah, I've never come across them before.
Yeah, Todd actually hired them, brought them in. They hadn't really worked with them before, but so the other electrical invoice was from Hogan Electric, who now we've started using Hogan Electric. Not just myself, the other facilities around town have been using them for their electrical work. He's local, and I think that's the guy we're going to be using moving forward. Due to the passing of Dan Driscoll, who was the electrician we've been using around town quite often. So Hogan Electric came in and wired the armories to give us an outlet for our welder. And he also installed an outlet for our power washer. And those are those electric bills.
Okay. Any questions? Any further discussion?
Yeah, we said third amount.
There, two of them are on the second invoice. The third invoice. The air compressor wing for $285, aluminum jacket for $139, and disconnects switch for $205. So altogether, it adds up to $2,184. Is there a motion? Rick?
I'll make a motion and follow it up with a question.
I'll second it.
Rick and Dan. Okay, go ahead, Rick.
Just wondering what the total is that we have available for relocation. I know at one point we were looking for a reserve fund transfer, right?
So I believe built into the
30,000 for
Yeah.
moving and miscellaneous expenses.
Okay.
So, since the DPW moved themselves, there's really no cost to that, and that moving expense is for like us to hire a mover and to move them out and vice versa. So and back in. So, we may hire a mover when we move back. But I think we have money in there that I think it would be appropriate to for this type of thing.
And I really only anticipate one more bill that's connected to temporary facilities or us moving, and that has to do with I have to put a fence around the new the entrance to the new compost area, which if I don't fence it in, we'll get surprises. People will be there and I drop it off, who knows what. So I have to put a fence with a gate on it.
Okay.
And so.
That way they can drop it in front of the gate.
Right.
Mary
They
Beth?
already dropped stuff off over this weekend at the DPW.
Next question.
Mary Beth, and you?
Thanks. About a half hour before I came up, I got a phone call from a town resident, and he lives at the condos next to the fire station. And he's stating that a couple of people are complaining about the view of the armory from the back of the condo. So he is requesting, or he wants to know if the town can put up some sort of a barrier which will help those on the ground level of the first floor, at least of the condo or second floor, from viewing everything back there. Because the back of the condo is right up against the armory. And he said these one or two people might cause a big stink, but
We're not doing any construction there.
Please.
It's an active building. Fire is using it. I mean, he can refer it to the Board of Selectmen for action, but we're not going to do anything.
I just told him we had a meeting. I think he knew we had a meeting. It was Tom.
I totally agree.
That's my opinion. I don't think that's within our province.
Yeah, I mean, the Armory's been an active building with Plymouth County Fire.
Since I took it back.
Yeah, police department, COA buses. I mean,
So in other words, this is not only DPW, it's everything.
yeah, it's nothing's really
Right.
changed.
No, I think just since all the equipment and all the trucks have come back there, but
My opinion is there is probably nothing we can do to solve the issues he's looking at. You can't put a fence that's 100 feet tall,
that's what I said to him.
right?
It's only gonna
If they can't do it in Texas, we can't do it in Whitman. I couldn't resist.
Steer away from that.
You don't have to write that in. Anyways, it's a temporary situation. Tell them to live with it.
He wasn't the one complaining. He was sort of making the call so that it doesn't rise to a bigger situation. Tom said, I know this is going to be, they're going to be in and out of there, but
I'm going to exercise some executive discretion here. Please inform the person that you'll refer to the Board of Selectmen.
Oh, thank you.
If they see any reason to act.
Wait a minute, let me lock that
It's
over.
going to continue though. I mean, because it's really not that much of it's from the DPW. It's not like they
Yeah,
moved all
it's-
their equipment there. It's mostly the stuff that was already there.
Yeah, the problem is when you start a project, people show up and suddenly have ideas about how to make their life better remember the fiasco with Murphy and the
Lights for the police station, yeah.
I don't see anything actionable there.
No. Okay. I have one question on the
Anyone
pile.
disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
I will let
Dan?
him know.
Yeah, I have a question on the lead
Motion on
pile,
that?
Frank.
No.
Yes, the fence that's going
Dust it
around,
off.
is that temporary or permanent?
I believe it will be permanent,
Good, okay. Can you answer my question?
but I don't believe that leaf pile position will be permanent.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that. We don't know that yet.
Well, until we're all done, and you see where's the best place for it.
Year and a half from now.
Yeah, okay. Enough said.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. If I may. I also
You
spoke
have the
with
floor.
Ben Oglesby from Unibank, our financial advisor, talking about as soon as that green light letter is done, going out to borrow. So he said just looking at the schedule, looking at everything that has to be done to borrow, he would suggest starting to move now, get a Moody's rating call lined up and all of that. He said basically if, God forbid, anything didn't go through, they don't get paid until the borrowing is done. The only thing that we may be on the hook for is a portion of the Moody's charge for the rating call if they get too far into that process. But he said to wait until we get the special legislation.
Well, we're going to need that
Green light
rating
letter.
anyway for everything else we're doing, including the schools. So it's academic, really,
Well, the rating is on the schools for the school. It's not our rating.
right?
It would be their rating. So we don't need one for that.
Right, but Moody's is going to rate us anyway.
They do rate us, but they do a special cost for this. It's $27,000 for the Moody rating. But he
Well, we're in
thinks
the wrong
that we
business.
really want to start this process, get the wheels going, and it involves that.
I think we should.
I agree, and that's what I had told him too, but I wanted to run it by you, so there's no.
But again, that's the authority of the selectmen to bond. So we'll support it, but I think the selectmen have to approve it because it's borrowing.
Well, they always sign the notes. It's just pulling the
Then we're
trigger
done.
first. Okay.
Okay.
I think Rick has a question.
I don't think we voted
Set
the
a record
question.
for a
on the
short
bills.
meeting.
Did we approve the bills? I think we had a motion and a second and discussion went into something else.
Oh, thank you. Okay. There's a motion and second to approve 2184 in bills to be paid. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you, Rick. Okay, what else do we have here? Before we go into the next meeting day, because this is going to be a record short meeting, let's talk about when the site meetings are going to begin and how they're going to be conducted.
Wednesday mornings, 8 a.m. virtually for now.
All virtual.
For now.
Tony did call me this morning. He's having like a knee or hip replacement or something, and he has a consultation this Wednesday morning at 8. So he asked if just this Wednesday we can move it up to like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I was going to send out a updated invite for just this Wednesday, and then we'll revert back to the 8 a.m. that we agreed to. Unless that becomes an issue, we can change that too. But
So are we beginning on the 20th?
yes.
And they're bi-weekly, is that correct? Or are they weekly?
I can't remember what we said. I think I set it up for weekly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew that.
I mean, we should be having weekly meetings, construction. I mean, I think at this point where we're trying to just keep them engaged and everything and, give them updates as,
Yeah, I think at this stage we should be meeting weekly.
yeah, weekly.
Because it's a kickoff and
Yeah.
all the freaky things are going to happen in the next
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 months. So might as well be prepared.
And how many people can be there? No more than,
How many is a quorum?
The quorum is 5, so we don't want more than 4.
so I won't be there.
Rick and I will be representing the committee. Mary Beth, I assume, will.
Well, I haven't been going, but
You
I
haven't,
certainly
okay.
will because I
Kevin
just
sent
wanted
out
the
an
people with
email.
the
Who did he identify on the email?
Dave Cook, I believe, and maybe Dennis. Were you one?
I told me, I don't think so.
No, 'cause I know
Let me pull
last
it up.
meeting we were
It
saying.
was Dave, Bruce, Frank,
Oh, Bruce. Okay,
Dave, Bruce, Frank,
Rick.
Rick. And once you reach 5, you have a quorum, right?
Right.
Right.
So that's it.
If somebody wants to take my place, they can. I have class on Wednesday mornings from 8 to noon time. So I won't be able to attend the meetings until after May 1st.
I'll do it.
Dennis. I'll put Dave/Dennis. One of you will
Yeah.
participate. Great. Is there anything else to bring before the committee? Bruce?
This is a question, and maybe Scott and Rich. Do we want to change the notice to proceed to allow them to tear down the fire tower in the old gravel shed or salt and sand shed if they're looking to try
They
to
did
keep things
mention
rolling?
that would help them out. So if it's okay, like if that's not going to be an issue, I think that
Is
would
that a
be.
motion?
I think that would be.
No, well, I just didn't know how involved that would be for one thing, and I just know that those two things are definitely unusable. The fire department pretty much tore apart that fire tower, knowing it was going to come down. So that's, and there's, even if we never did the DPW project, those two things would need.
So the fire tower's going and what else?
The old salt,
The old
mix-
salt shed.
the old salt and sand mix shed. Yeah.
There's nothing in there now?
No.
The salt?
No.
There's one whole face of the training tower is gone. It's all wide
In
open.
the salt and sand shed, they also trained on that one night too, and they cut holes in it and stuff.
Gee,
like
if they accidentally tore down the animal control building, we'd have to put another one up, wouldn't we?
Yes.
Probably somewhere else.
Yeah, wow.
Back at the police station.
So getting a revised NTP, Nancy Campany has had surgery, so she's out for a bit, but I'm sure that Peter could draw one up. But let me just get this straight. The fire tower, is that what you said?
Yes.
And the old salt and sand shed?
Yep.
And those, if, God forbid, funding
They
never
gotta come down
happened,
anyway.
Won't be missed.
nothing's lost.
Nope.
Is that right?
The fire uses it very little. They do most of their training in the county facility or up in Stowe.
Unless they want to set it on fire.
I think we
And
need a
they
vote.
pretty much destroyed it in the last couple of weeks, knowing that it was coming down.
Yeah.
Is there Anything else?
Yes. Builder's risk. Right? We need builder's risk insurance in
Right.
place.
Yep.
So we actually got a quote from Page, and it was like $39,000. Let me just go back up here.
35. I think.
35, and then we got one from Maya for
Maya.
19.
Yeah.
So we're going with Maya, and then Paige is giving us a credit back, correct,
Yes,
Neil?
That is correct.
Okay, then I will sign paperwork to get that.
Do we know what they put in the budget for it?
35,000.
They put 35, so the credit will be 35.
That's what they offered.
Yep.
Yep.
Whether that was the real number or not remains to be seen.
So they will have that in. We'll need that in place, I would think, before they do any tearing down, excavating, anything.
But it's up to the town to bind the coverage.
Well, it
So
is.
As soon as you bind the coverage, they should be all set.
Right.
Should
So
be
we
able to
wanna-
bind that tomorrow.
Well, I spoke to him about that, and I actually signed it today. Haven't sent it
Yep.
back because I just want to make sure
Yep.
that everybody's good with that. And let me get that
That's
done.
what, just to be clear, for the committee's purposes, that's what council recommended, right? The town provided, or Maya
Right.
recommended that the town provide it. That's why we went through this exercise.
That's not really what council recommended, I don't think. But Maya had mentioned that they offer it, and then I know we had a discussion with Frank. Said,
Strongly
get a quote.
encourage the town.
I have used Maya in the
Provide.
past for owner's risk insurance.
Yeah.
And they're extremely competitive.
Oh no, we definitely have to have it, and the
Right.
price difference was great. So anyway, nothing will be torn down without the NTP. So I'll make sure that I get this in place. Okay. Then we'll have an NTP. So are we going to take a vote on a new NTP? Do we need a vote on that, Frank?
I don't suppose it hurt, but how many of these are we going to vote?
I know. How much do each of these cost?
The NTPs?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, you're using your council.
it's probably running $500 a page.
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to have our council draft and release a new notice to proceed once we have confirmation that the
Builders risk.
state has passed the bond bill.
Oh, say that again?
It's related to the bond bill, right?
Well, no, I
No,
think
it's
that's what
only
they're
looking to take
asking.
down the tower.
They want to take down the tower and the salt and sand
Oh.
shed before we get any funding.
Well, actually, I think that's a DPW vote. Commissioners would be responsible for that. It's DPW property.
Right, why do we need a vote? I mean, you just
Well,
take
the
it.
contractor's gonna do it.
right.
Yeah, all they need, Bruce, the commissioners should vote to authorize the demolition of those two things.
But Paige doesn't have authority to do that right now. Paige only
Oh,
has.
Bruce has broad shoulders. He'll tell her to go
No.
ahead.
I think it's just as easy to make a motion in this meeting, because then you have to have them.
Yeah, there's notice to
I think
proceed
we have the
restricted any demolition.
Yeah,
Right.
Don't you, doesn't the town is the holder of the contract with Page.
That's right.
Correct.
So unless you want to meet again and vote it again, I don't mean to speak out of turn, but I think this committee should vote subject to the authorization by the
There you go,
DPW.
very good.
Otherwise, you're gonna have to meet again to make the recommendation to the town to sign the contract to get them going,
That's perfect.
right?
Wait a minute. We're going to amend the contract for this?
No.
The notice to
NTP.
proceed.
My
Yeah.
apologies.
Says no demolition. So we have to issue a new NTP, a revised.
I'll entertain a motion to amend the notice to proceed to include the demolition of the tower and the old salt shed, subject to the approval of the Board of Public Works Commissioners.
I'll
So
second.
motion.
Okay, you gonna second it? I'll second it.
And I'll get the builder's risk in place.
It's gotta come down.
Any further
90%
discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Who's gonna call Kevin and tell him to stay home?
I'll text him.
I thought we were gonna wait till he walked in and then say motion to adjourn.
Oh, perfect! Where is he?
Isn't that
Ask
what
him
you
where he
always
is.
do?
I'd love that.
Can I,
He's coming this way anyway.
Yeah.
Does Undersecretary, does she have a copy of the minutes?
No, I don't have.
Do you need another one?
No. Does she have?
Yes, I gave one. Yes.
Okay, anything else?
Well, we probably should say hello to Erica Adams, our new recording secretary, who
Oh,
started
wow.
this evening
Where is she?
in the corner over there.
Didn't I meet you already?
Capital Committee,
Yeah, you told him that.
Conservation Committee, and DPW Committee. Welcome.
Where does she live?
Whitman.
Live with me? Oh, I'm up for re-election.
You don't have to incorporate that.
That will not be reflected in the minutes, please. Rick.
So I just want to, just while we're in new business, I'd really like to find out the economic risk. What is the economic risk if this 4 or 5 month exercise that we've been going through for special legislation fails? We talked about putting it on the warrant. Is that not a viable option? Would bond council support a warrant article that recognizes the vote that took place last year as acceptable?
No, the flaw is how it was put on the warrant.
Right.
The meeting that authorized the placement of the Proposition 2.5 question did not contain the specific language that bond counsel maintains was necessary, am I correct, in order to move forward with the election. It was in a ballot with the annual town meeting, but was not separately voted.
The ballot question was not contained in the warrant, never is,
Right.
never has been.
Yeah.
And it wasn't posted as a separate warrant ballot question. It was posted in town hall, it was posted online, all of that, but it wasn't posted by the clerk.
So my point is that there's nothing wrong with the will of the people was clear in the
Yep.
election. What would remedy it, in my mind, is to have an article on the warrant recognizing the vote that took place last year.
No,
Then you
it
wouldn't
would be
need
the
another-
advertising of the question. That's the issue.
Right.
It's the advertising of the question.
All I'm saying is, it would be best if we explored every opportunity, every avenue, if this special legislation does not pass, right? Because we've been told every meeting that this special legislation is going to be passed before we reconvene, and it's been 4 or 5 months, right?
Right.
So we're heading into town meeting again.
Right.
All I'm simply asking is if town council would evaluate the remedy by putting another article on the warrant recognizing last year's election.
Town council will defer to bond council.
And
And bond council is the one who's telling us this is what we have to do.
I could have asked the question.
You can
I
ask.
think it's a simple-
You can ask Michelle and Peter,
Don't get
but
comfortable.
I'd be willing to bet very heavily that they're going to tell you need to defer to bond.
Probably true, but my question is this: if you put a new question on, a new article, the problem wasn't with the article; it was the ballot question. And so, how could you put a ballot question for last year? You'd have to have another. If you're having a new article, you have it on a ballot as well, and a new election.
I'm saying, and I'm certainly not an attorney,
Yeah.
I'm just asking, would bond council recognize an article on the new town meeting warrant
Yeah.
that recognizes the vote that took place last year, post facto? Well, just, is it a question? Yes, no?
But we have that.
We already have the approval of town meeting and the approval of the electorate
Yeah.
to do this. So those approvals aren't in question.
Right.
What's in question is whether or not we delivered proper notice of the election. That's the issue that he's raising, because we didn't give the clerk a ballot question to post on the board downstairs and publish in our public records. So that, according to bond counsel, that makes the question deficient. So in order to fix it, you either have to do the whole thing all over again, or you go and have a bill passed by the legislature And because the state changed the process for home rule back in 2008, you can no longer request home rule except by a vote at town meeting or have the governor file it. And that's why it's in the governor's hands now.
Okay. So
Used to be the selectmen could vote to petition a state rep or senator to file home rule legislation. All that changed in 2008. Apparently someone snuck something by somewhere.
So just, so follow up to Rick's question. Is there anything that we can do
As a
now
backup plan.
as a committee in case this continues to swirl on Beacon Hill so that we can move the project forward?
I think that's the better question I can ask. Is there anything?
You can ask, but as long as bond council's holding to the fact that we need to do that,
And the answer
Right.
may be no.
we're stuck
I think
because we can't
to
get approval
satisfy-
by council. And the problem is, I think if we were to bring today a new question,
Yep.
I'm not confident it'll pass
Right.
I'm not
with
even,
everything else going
That's what
on.
I'm
Well,
afraid of.
not after the Whitman Middle.
I think that the town, you have to realize how much money we've invested already, right? I think an informed voter will recognize that we've spent $2 million so far. And to turn around and say we're not going to continue with this project, I don't think there's gonna be a majority of no's on that question based on what we've invested and where we still need to go. We still need a building, right? Still need a facility, so.
I don't think we have a problem getting it through town meeting. I think we have a problem getting it through the ballot a second time.
I do too.
People are panicking right now.
Sorry, I'm late,
I'd be,
but I would agree with that.
all I'm saying is we should probably initiate the process.
I'll ask the question. I think what they'll probably say is put a new article and do a new ballot question and do the whole process over again.
Or
But I
continue
think,
with Beacon Hill.
yes, and who am I? I think this is
the
going to
lesser of the evils is continuing with the
Sure.
governor's office.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of reasons to think that with the governor filing the bill and our state rep and our state senator supporting the legislation, that it's going to have any kind of challenge on Beacon Hill.
No.
Typically, the only time home rule comes under battle is when one of the elected representatives is opposed to the home rule.
Bless you.
That's when it dies in committee.
And so far, we know that that's not the case.
Right.
That's right.
All right,
I think
think we're very
we're
close.
9/10 in. I think we
Yeah.
need to follow it through.
I agree.
Is there anything else?
Would you like to make the motion?
Hearing nothing. Kevin, would you care to make a motion to adjourn?
I apologize. I had a 2:30 meeting that went to 4:30.
All right, Kevin made a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Anybody second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're done.
Next meeting.
Check that out.
Oh yeah, next meeting.
Next meeting. Good question.
I think
First or second week in April, hopefully. This committee doesn't have any action. Should the governor follow through and find her pen and sign the legislation?
immediately.
Is there, we don't have any action from this committee in order to
No,
release.
everything's in place. We're ready to move.
And we're
We
good.
just need the authorization to borrow.
Okay.
And that's
as soon as
in
we
Mary
get the
Beth's
special
hands.
legislation, it goes to bond council. As soon as we get a green light letter, we start the process for securing the funds.
So.
April 8th?
And no earlier. I would expect we're gonna get a bill from the contractor towards the end of March. And we'll need to act upon that. to
That's
get it.
within the money we have.
Yes. Well, presumably, I haven't seen the bill yet.
Kevin, you okay
Presumably
with
it would be.
It has to be.
April 8th?
Yeah.
Or were we better off going to the 15th?
Ooh.
Well, the 15th is a holiday, right?
Yeah,
So
let's do
we
the-
couldn't meet.
Oh,
Oh, we can meet on a holiday. We just can't hold an election.
Let's do the 8th.
No. I thought you couldn't have public meetings
It's a
up.
month out if we do it.
You can have public meetings.
Oh, really?
What holiday?
Patriots Day.
Patriots Day.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so April
Tax day.
8th.
What's this, our next meeting?
Next meeting, yep.
April what?
8.
5 p.m.
Yes.
Yes, Kevin.
Sorry. I figured I had a 2:30 meeting. I figured I was good. I'd get out by 4, but didn't get over till 4:30. And it was my yearly review, so I wasn't. Nothing against the committee here. I wasn't leaving early.
Gotta go.
Got to stay to the end to find out what the outcome is.
My response to those is you have my undivided attention.
Okay. April 8th at 5 o'clock. What? 3 weeks away?
Yep. Okay. And we're done.